It's time once again for another thrilling episode of Markout Radio. For the next hour, sit back, pull the stick out of your ass, and enjoy. Be warned though, smarks and internet know-it-alls will be offended, annoyed, and generally pissed off at what's about to happen to your ear holes. You've been warned. Now, Markout Radio.
That's right, you animals. Welcome back to the show. Your boy Dark Fox again here with you. Episode 61 of Markout Radio Goes Nitro for November the 11th, 1996 from the Bayfront Center, St. Petersburg, Florida. Hosted by Tony Schiavone, Larry Zbyszko, Eric Bischoff, Mike Today, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Listen, let's just address the fucking elephant in the room, shall we? Last week was a clusterfuck. My apologies. This week, I think it's better. I hope it's better. I'm pretty sure that nothing is recording my audio from the camera that wasn't even working last week, but is working this week, you poor bastards. So, welcome back to the show. We're going to have some fun this week. Listen, I don't want to say that this is... I will say that. The greatest shit show for wrestling. Since Nitro was on the air, let's be honest. All right. Stop putting yourself over. All right, here we go. Get on with the show. This is the 22nd week in a row for the war that is a war, with Nitro coming out on top with a 3.7 to Raw's 2.5. Both shows are rated higher this week, but this is not the point when wrestling audience starts to grow. It's just a fluke week. Well, it's Veterans Day in the United States, and in the mid-90s, no one was running shows or games on Veterans Day. Now, I mean, these days, that's entirely different. These days, it's fairly common. Now listen, for as much shit as I give the commentators, the bookers, and in general, the huge populace of people in the 90s, the respect we used to show for the November 11 does make me think that maybe some progress has been lost, and we've lost some important things as well along the way. But listen, I'm just an asshole. Don't listen to me. Let's move on. The only things of note that actually did happen on November 11, 1996 was the Braves pitcher John Smoltz won the National League Cy Young Award, while Pat Hengen of the Blue Jays won the AL Cy Young Award. Now, I found it interesting that Bischoff will regularly put over football, basketball. He'll put over the Braves during their season. But here, an actual Atlanta Brave from the parent company owner has won something that's not small potatoes in the baseball universe. And here we are. We don't even talk about it all night long. The other thing of note was that Joe Baker, who sang in the Elvin Bishop band, died of liver disease at the age of 48. Who was even Elvin Bishop? Well, I mean, modern fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe may recognize this song. Hopefully you guys can hear this. That's right. Fooled around and fell in love. That's what he's not most famous for, but one of the more famous songs that he sang. Listen, you may be asking yourself, if you're watching this video, which you all should be able to see now on our stream, this is Elvin Bishop. And in the actual studio version of this song, the white lady that's to his right was a black lady, Joe Baker. So, listen, before we get into this, the fucking pantsuit. Let's talk about the fucking pantsuit for a second, shall we? The only thing that is better than the pantsuit was obviously surpassed by the chick's onesie, the rainbow onesie. The lady, if you're wondering, did actually sing. Her microphone is actually hooked up, but she was not the amazement that was Joe Baker. When you watched Guardian of the Galaxy, you got full Joe Baker. Anyways, listen, award for the best dressed. Let's skip ahead to this movie here so we can see the full band. Look at the full band here. This is great. So this other guy right here that I'm circling with my cursor, which you can't see on the radio because with the magic of podcasts, you can't actually see what I'm doing. There's a guy in the middle. He is the second bassist, and he in the album was a black man. That's right. Thank you for the ta-da. And the woman in the awesome black and rainbow jumpsuit, also a black woman. Joe Baker, Our Lady that passed away. Now, the record company made Elvin Bishop replace her and the black man with white people because, well, it's 1975. Why wouldn't we do that? Jesus. All right. So, award for outfits of the night, though, absolutely goes. Listen, despite the fact that the lead guitarist here is awesome with the afro and the Marshall's star here, the absolute winner of the night for best outfit has to go to this fucking dude right here who matches white bell bottoms with a huge white cowboy hat. He is by far the greatest. You are gold, sir, and we salute you. And I wish I had a really cool piece of audio to play for you for that. No, let's not. No, don't do that. That's not good. All right, back to wrestling. Now, why the fuck did I even talk about? Oh, that's right. I talked about this because I apparently get emails that tell the producer boy that people want to hear more about what happened back in the 90s while doing these fucking wrestling shows. And I'm not going to talk about Raw because there's more than enough podcasts out there that do a bang up job of doing Raw. And if you want to go back to watch Nitro versus Raw on specific nights, there are YouTube channels dedicated to doing that. I'm just a shit talker. All right. And we're going to slowly go over the retardation that was 1990s wrestling back when this company was starting to hit its peak. So wrestling. We're back in St. Petersburg, Florida. There's 3,800 in attendance and a $49,230 gate. We start off with the production team showing off their ability to spin the nitro lights down the entrance ramp. And this being Florida, Larry's been allowed to wear one of his own shirts without the addition of a blazer. Now, according to these two, Sting's not in the building since they've checked all of the rafters. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen. They then throw to the heat between Jarrett and Horseman Benoit and Mongo. At least this part made some sense as it directly led into the first match of the night, being Jeff Jarrett defeating Chris Benoit with woman at his side via disqualification 9 minutes 5 seconds. I gave this match 3.5 out of 5. Benoit and woman enter first, followed by Jarrett, followed by a picture-in-picture promo with Hart and Sullivan. Oh, God. Here we go again. Okay, so again, it's a shoot. It's not a work. Stop fucking saying it's a work, because it's not. It's a shoot. Just look at the fucking promo. You can tell it's a goddamn shoot. Jimmy doesn't know how to do anything but work. Jimmy's personality is a work. So the fact of the matter is that the fact that Jimmy's even talking means he's in the Jimmy Hart character, but it's a fucking shoot. And he starts off by saying that if Nancy had just called Kevin back, that this would all be over. Fuck's sakes, man. No one at the time thought that this was a work. No one in the back. Absolutely. None of the fans. It's just retroactively we've gone back after the horrible tragedy of the Benoit family and gone, oh yeah, no, this was a work. It totally wasn't going over the top and pushing the envelope too far at all. No, it was fine. Jesus Christ. Anyways, ringside, there are 8 fans who created some shirts using what looks like masking tape on black tees. And there's an NWO, a number 4, and then an LIFE who are putting themselves over all night long, so much so that Eric would put them over later on in the show, which was always a treat. There's a commercial break here mid-match for a World War III pay-per-view promo that's coming up in 2 weeks. Back from break, Tony teases us with an update of Flair's shoulder injury. Oh, the video that we end up watching. Jesus. Listen, we've done it with a lot of other recovery videos since then, but this was not the first time, but it was definitely the most just ham-fisted attempt at it. Anyways, The match itself was a solid wrestling match with both wrestlers performing really well. Definitely got the crowd getting into the show. And aside from the self-serving promo here, Sullivan actually booking a match to start a show off was a fucking great move. Now, that being said, Benoit gets suplexed to the outside. Sting comes into the ring, drops Jarrett with a Scorpion Death Drop that Tenay calls what did he call it? Reverse DDT, which, yeah, it is, but it's got a fucking name, Mike Tenay, who could tell you the middle names of Mexican wrestlers, but doesn't know that the fucking reverse DDT is called the Scorpion Death Drop. Let's keep him around for a while. That's awesome, because he never did once call it the Scorpion Death Drop until they were working in TNA together, and presumably it's because Sting fucking told him. Here, even Tony Schiavone calls it a fucking reverse DDT. He's been calling WCW shit for years. So I wonder, maybe, if perhaps that Sting, being Sting, doesn't get to have it called the Scorpion Death Drop, or maybe it's because Tenay's barking shit in Tony's ear, confusing him. I don't know. But the confusion continues on because the announcers can't figure out why Sting would come out and Scorpion Death Drop Jarrett, even though the whole promo package that set this match up was Jarrett calling Sting out for not being a locker room leader. I wonder why Sting would come out and drop fucking Sting. Why Sting would come out and drop Jarrett. I wonder why. Honestly, you don't even need to retroactively look back on this like 30 years later. It's just, what the fuck? Of course. Why wouldn't he? You set this up this way. Anyways, so post-match, Woman talks Benoit into picking Jarrett up because they're both on Team WCW. I thought that was a nice spot. However, Benoit didn't really need to pull Jarrett up by his hair to put it over. I don't mind it. He could have kept his heat without it, but I think it kind of helped a little bit because there's still that horseman tension, right? Back from break, some fan who later gets named Ken McDade within 2 minutes. How is he some fan and then all of a sudden named? Like, at least Eric later on wouldn't name the guy, but like Tony just names the guy, Kevin McDade. Oh, Jesus. He comes out, he gives Larry and Tony an envelope with a tape of Piper cutting a promo on Hogan from Germany in 92, allegedly. It won't turn out to be this. It'll turn out to be something else entirely, but we'll get there later in the show. All right. So because they can't have Piper on because he wanted 60 days notice, they started getting desperate to keep the heat going between the Piper-Hogan feud, and they would dig up old promos from other companies, and in this case, music videos to share with the fans. After this, we get a very 90s promo of Flair getting his shoulder worked on, and Dr. Andrews' opinion that Flair will make a triumphant return to wrestling. WCW Women's Championship Tournament quarterfinals match after this. Gaia All As Asia Athlete Women's Champion 0, with Sonny Ono defeats Malia Hosaka in 1 minute, 43 seconds. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Where is it? There it is. Thank you.
0.0.
Oh, listen, I'm a mark for Hosaka. She's way better than she's allowed to be in this match. And working with Zero legit pissed her off. It forced her to learn shoot wrestling, so this kind of thing would stop happening to her. She's gorgeous, she's got a great look, but she's so small that she would get worked over by larger women on a regular basis. So working with Zero, and basically Zero no-selling the shit out of this entire fucking match, and forcing Hosaka to basically just take a shit ton of bumps for this big, broad, just pissed her off to the point where she wasn't going to do this shit anymore. Larry gets away with something that would get him shit canned today when he's shocked that Zero is in fact a woman. Oh, Jesus. And just goes on to, anyways, she goes on to sell the fuck out of the match. It entertained no one, and it killed the crowd that Benoit and Jarrett had built up. After this, Gene Okerlund ramp with DDP. Thank fuck Gene's back. I never thought I'd say that. Tenay and Eric were awful stand-ins. Anyways, Gene wants to know how DDP feels being courted by the NWO. Now, DDP confirms that he used to manage Hall, that he used to tag with Nash, but that doesn't mean he's going to join the NWO. In response, the Outsiders come out, and between these four, the crowd is hot again. DDP doesn't like that he was number 8 to get in. Nash shoots that they would have come to him earlier, but he's Eric's neighbor, which DDP still hates to this day, by the way. Unfortunately, this is where the promo fell apart because DDP got stuck on being number 8. Nash got stuck on being you just don't get it. Hall got stuck on we were looking out for you. And Gene was forced with production to wrap this shit up and go to break. When fans get pissed off today that promos are too scripted, this is one of the reasons why. You've got 4 guys. Where's my... There we go. You got 4 guys that can work the fucking stick like pros. And their promo started off hot and fell to fucking pieces. After this, we got Rey Mysterio Jr. defeating Ciclope in 5 minutes, 58 seconds. I hope that didn't come off as racially insensitive. I actually don't care. I give that one 3 out of 5. During the break, Dragon and Ono come down to sit at ringside with the J Crown belts. Ciclope got no entrance. Rey got a hot entrance, and his match was designed to allow Rey to put over his high-flying moves, as well as sells preparation for a match with anyone, which is what his post-match promo was. Later on in the match, though, Mr. Personality, Dean Malenko, comes out to stand on the ramp and watch the match. Now, after a few minutes, Psychosis comes out to stand behind him. The fans popped, but Malenko never turned around. He's the man of 1,000 holds, and he's a master wrestler, but he can't tell that another wrestler is standing a few feet behind him on a fucking stage. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, the cameras and the fans focus back on the ring where the actual action is happening. Ciclope delivers a reverse pile driver to Rey. Tony Schiavone puts it over as a reverse tombstone pile driver like maneuver. Holy shit. You can't call it that. As the bell rings, the Rays win. The camera goes back to Malenko, who finally turns around to see Psychosis. I'm not sure how much this speaks to the growing professionalism that the production is starting to have here, but this was an awful timing thing. Just whoever was sitting in Gorilla, and I realize we're not calling it Gorilla because this is WCW, but whoever sitting at Gorilla sending these guys out needs to get fucking punched in the throat. Pep Boy's Power Pin of the Week starts with Ray's suicide dive to the outside, followed by his pin much later on in the match, and that'll put a wrap on this little sucker. Back from break, Tony tells us that WCWWrestling.com got hacked and was down this last week. Now, listen. I understand that only somebody like me is going to get wound up about things like this. But here's the thing. DC Comics, WCW Wrestling, I hate redundant names. I hate them. Because DC Comics stands for Detective Comics. So it's DC Comics. So it's Detective Comics. And WCWWrestling.com, World Championship Wrestling, Wrestling.com. I know I'm not supposed to fucking hate this shit, but I fucking hate this shit. Anyways, redundant names aside, the NW Nerds are back, but this time they come down the ramp, followed by the Outsiders and Six, who's carrying a Cable Ace Award, which is allegedly Brad Siegel's award for executive producing something that won I think it was 93 or 94 that won some fucking deal with, and it was a TNT thing. But anyways, the reason why Brad Siegel's important here is that he's one of the executive producers of WCW Nitro. Hall, thumbing his nose as an authority, obviously wants to go out to the left coast, which is a bit of a political shoot, but accurate, where he, Nash, and Six are going to politic for the Cable Ace Awards for a company that they are taking over. Right. That's because that's how that works. Later, the NWO would accuse the Giant of getting them their first loss when their first loss was an award that no rebellious invader would give two shits about, even a rich one. The NWO now have a website, which they aim to have their own show as well as Hogan gathers a production team. Just a bunch of self-serving nonsense, which actually works because it's the NWO's selling nonsense, right? That's how that works, isn't it? All right, after this, Lex Luger defeats Scott Norton in 8 minutes, 11 seconds. I give that 3 out of 5. Hour 2 kicks off as this match gets introduced with Norton's entrance. Luger comes out just as the match is starting. We get a picture-in-picture of Arn Anderson wanting another shot at Luger, but Eric buries the feud. I'm not quite sure why, since the only thing they have for Luger right now anyways, and spoiler alert, they're not going to fucking let him win World War III anyways. The crowd pops and the cameras find Sting up in the nosebleed area of the arena rocking his evolved Crow Sting makeup, looking less like a creepy clown like last week and more like the Crow. We get a commercial break here. Thank you. Back from break, Eric mentions the fan who delivered the tape, which production are now looking to see if it's broadcast ready, and they may show it later on in the show. So, some fan gets into the show, gets their way. I wonder why fans continue to this day to get too involved in wrestling shows. I'm throwing it out there. I'm just saying.
All right.
Norton missed a diving shoulder tackle from the top rope. Luger capitalized with the rack for the big W. Post-match, the commentating team put over the World War III Battle Royal match before the recap of the Benoit Jarrett match interference from earlier so Luger can get his win back. Back in the ring, Gene is having a in-ring promo with Luger. Let's talk Sting. Luger has no answers, but he's been carrying the WCW banner as best he can, but it's more than one man can bear. Pretty solid promo, actually, looking back on it. Back from break, that golden-voiced bastard Lee Marshall was back on the line for his 1-800 collect? Yeah, 1-800-collect call in segment, this time from Florence, South Carolina, where he's hosting a Bobby Heenan look-alike contest. Heenan had a quip here that just got totally talked over, and it wasn't any good anyway, so I'm not repeating it. After this, Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry, versus the amazing French-Canadians Jacques Rougeau and Carl Ouellet with Colonel Robert Parker. This ends in a no contest in 3 minutes, 10 seconds. I gave it 2 out of 5. The amazing French Canadians come out with new custom flags with black trimming that say the amazing French Canadians. Unfortunately, the Canadian flag itself is sideways. Heat comes out and gets a picture-in-picture recap of Parker trying to interfere in a Heat Canadians match on Saturday night, only to be stopped and then punched by Sherry. When he goes to get his hands on Sherry, Booker and Stevie come out and lay out Parker. He gets shit-canned from the Harlem Heat, which is why he is now apparently managing the amazing French Canadians. Back on Nitro in this live match, there's a flurry of botches which finally clear up. Backstage, the Nasty Boys are trying to come in and talk with WCW office and demanding to see Doug Dillinger, who won't let them in. We end up kind of listening to more of this with a split screen that completely takes the focus off of the TV audience watching the actual match, which the crowd is popping for, as Sherry and Parker end up in the ring together. Outside, the Nasties are talking with Brutus Beefcake, while inside, the match is called a no contest just before Sherry takes some swings at Parker, who bails out of the ring and runs to the back. We finally get back into the ring where Sherry screams that she's going to kill Parker, and then we dump the break. Again, this is all serving to build up feud and tension and heat for Harlem Heat versus Amazing French Canadians. I believe this is coming up in the next pay-per-view, and I believe whoever wins gets 5. I remember what it was. If the Heat win, they get 5 minutes. She gets 5 minutes alone with Colonel Parker. Sherry gets 5 minutes with Parker. The funny thing is, the 5 minutes with Parker would get counted as a match when I went to go watch World War III. Anyways, after this, we get a Mexican Heavyweight Championship match. Konnan defeating Chris Jericho via disqualification. Now, it wasn't clear if this was a championship match. Apparently, the record books recorded as a defense of the Mexican Heavyweight Championship belt. I don't know how that's possible since the WCW never really had any formal relations with the AAA promotion that Konnan is repping. Anyways, I gave this match 3.5 out of 5 for its 5 minutes, 18 seconds just for a DQ. Cholo Heisenberg comes out with the new Mexican heavyweight strap, figuring that their title was going to be on weekly live television. The AAA promotion spent a couple bucks on getting a new title, which is stiff and doesn't move around a whole lot. Hey, listen, thick leather takes a while to break in. It's not like the WCW tag titles are falling apart. Eric tells the fans to use a phone to submit your tapes. Don't come interrupt a live wrestling show, realizing, of course, that earlier he fucked up and basically encouraged fans to interrupt the show. Eric puts over the NWO shirts at ringside, the NWO line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which he likes. They're invading the company. They're stealing the title. They're forcing their way onto new shows, but Eric likes that they're represented in the NFL locker room. And then less than a minute later, looking at the fans at ringside wearing the NWO for Life shirts again, he says this is all too much. Jesus fucking Christ.
You are a big mark.
Jericho avoids running into Patrick, then Konnan drops Jericho on the back, and he barely hits Patrick's shoulder, leading to a DQ win. And then we dump to commercial break, so we miss all of the post-match heat and continued setup of the Patrick-Jericho match. The Patrick heat was really only working with Jericho putting it over. Everyone else was just annoyed by it, didn't know what to make of it, thought it was stupid, and it was self-serving. Ironically, the same people that have no problem with Sullivan's fucking idiot work shoot nonsense. All right, Miguel Perez Jr. debuts by defeating Juventud Guerrero in 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Jesus, I gave it 3 out of 5. Brain shoots on Perez's astonishing amount of body hair. Hoovy eats a powerbomb from the guardrail to the mats at ringside, followed quickly by Perez performing a handspring crossbody from inside the ring to the outside of the ring. It was actually a very cool move. DiBiase and Vincent promo after this, inviting Sting to the NWO as Vince flexes with a spare t-shirt, and then we dump the break. This leads into the main event. Faces of Fear with Jimmy Hart defeat the American Males in 3. Oh, dear. I feel like there's a lot of reasons for YouTube to flag our shit this week. You're doing this shit again. And then later on, we've got some shit from Piper. And we had some shit Fool Around and Fell in Love earlier. This is going to get... Oh, Jesus. All right. Thank you.
American males, American males, American males,
Can you...
American males.
Pretend you're a broadcast professional, please. I know it's just a podcast, but can you please pretend for a while? Thank you. All right, Bischoff. Jesus Christ. Bischoff puts over the males' heat with one another, followed by Tenay commenting that ever since Riggs came back from injury, they haven't been on the same page. But they get one hell of a pose with a curtain of fireworks from above as Meng blasts Bagwell out of the ring. And the Faces of Fear work over Riggs for a bit until Bagwell gets back into the ring and they take out Barbarian to start the match off. Bischoff tells us that the tape is indeed a music video, but that he's been trying to get together with Piper's people, and it's been difficult. Now listen, I'm going to play the song. I'm not going to play the video, and here's why. I am an audio snob. I know from last week's show you can't tell, but I am. You have no idea how much that shit tweaked me last week. All right, now, the video is awful, and the best quality version of it I could find was the one that airs on Nitro. So if you want to watch the video and all of its homoerotic bullshit, go right ahead, watch this episode. It's the November 11, 1996 episode on the network or however you watch it. And you can go and watch the video. Or, alternatively, you can go on YouTube. You know what? I'll do you a favor. I will link the video that I was able to find of this music video. I don't often do that shit, so if you're on YouTube, you get a bonus of me linking the video. If you listen to the podcast on a podcatcher, the link will be in there too. I just don't know if the click out of whatever you watch whatever you listen to the podcast on is going to work. I know that the link does work if you click on it out of Spotify, but I don't know about anything else because I don't have other methods of listening to podcasts. Yes, I know. I listen to Spotify. But anyway, it's a music video and I am going to play it, but apparently getting together with Piper's people has been difficult. I imagine it has been difficult because Piper insists on 60 days notice. Now, he insists on 60 days notice because the guy's got a wife and yeah, as Eric shoots, he has 6 kids running around their house together. And listen, he likes spending time with his family. So he doesn't want to be constantly on the road anymore with wrestling and shit. Like he'll shoot a movie, he'll come home. He'll shoot all the wrestling shit and he'll come home. That's what he wants to do now. And they're willing to pay him to do it. So they need to figure out other ways to keep the heat going. And this music video is how they're going to do it. Eric spends 3 minutes here putting over the video, but then when Tenay gets on board with putting the video over, Eric buries him and the fucking video. I mean, just the fucking ego on this fucking guy. No, I don't think that's the more you know is absolutely not the music or the music you play for that. I mean, here's Eric putting himself over for putting over the video about fucking Piper and this whole 1992 music video thing. Tenay gets on board with it. Eric buries him and buries this tape, which is the only thing keeping the heat alive for this fucking Hogan-Piper feud in the first place. So the fucking ego, just let people agree with you. They're trying to help you sell something. Fucking just goddamn. That's the right one. Thank you. All right. Anyways, after Barbarian hook kicks Riggs, he gets a quick count victory from the ref. I don't care who you are. There was a fucking quick count victory. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just is what it is. Post-match, Jimmy Hart cuts a promo demanding that the Faces of Fear are allowed to challenge for the tag straps at World War III. I believe this would come to pass. I'd have to take a look at my notes later, but it's really not important. What is important? Oh, what is important is Piper's music video. Well, Piper's music from 1992. I'm Your Man. Oh, God.
I've been watching you all night.
Okay, you know what this actually kind of reminds me of?
'Cause everything about you, it's so right.
Okay. I just finished watching. It's Christmas time right now while I'm recording this, and we've been watching Christmas stuff. I love the whisper. They had a ridiculously hot chick in this video with him. They set it up like Rocky. Okay. Anyways. Okay, thank you. Just turn it down a little bit. Just a little bit. Thank you. So I can hear myself fucking think. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, they had a ridiculous hot chick doing this video with him. And his skirt is a lot longer in the promotional thing. You know what? I'll show you it. I'll show you there, look. There you go. That's a single. Look at that. Oh, God. So bad. Yeah, no, this single had another song on the along with it, which was every bit as bad. All right, anyways, Jesus Christ. All right, like I said, I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the show notes so you guys can go check it out if you want to check it out. It's half Rocky, like he's got like an old guy teaching him how to box, and he's working on a heavy bag. Which, whatever. I mean, the whole video is that him sweating with his muscles glistening and him punching a heavy bag, and an old guy mimicking Mickey in the corner, and then he's dancing around on the beach with some hot broad and falling over himself in the ocean. It's bad. Listen, for the 90s, it was, yeah. I mean, like, even in the 90s, I can't imagine I would have put this over.
Milkman. But now, this ain't no half pint now you're dealing with. Sweetheart. I'm a full load. Why do you think they call me Hot Rod, huh?
Oh, my God. Fuck. It's a full load. Why does he think they call me Hot Rod? Jesus Christ. Anyways, the whole point of this video. Oh, Jesus. That's awful. Anyways. The whole point here is that they also, for this video, rented the Hollywood Bowl sign so they could show a Piper versus Hogan dream match. And so the whole point of this video is that Piper has been wanting this match since 1992.
All right.
No, seriously, that's it. That was the entire point of the video. The entire point of them building up all this heat for this was to put that over. Was that since 92, Piper has wanted this match. I can think of worse ways to keep the heat alive. But Jesus Christ. I mean, whatever. Hogan comes out now to the NWO music coming down the ramp with Liz and Vincent and Ted DiBiase. He doesn't have the stubble because he just finished filming a marathon session of Santa with muscles. Now, listen. I didn't know he was about to promote Santa with muscles. All I registered was Liz wearing a Christmas outfit. Now, you know how I feel about Nitro on Veterans Day. Imagine how I feel about a Christmas outfit before the day is even done. I mean, it's one fucking day. I know that makes me fucking old and maybe out of touch or whatever, but it's one day, Veterans Day, and just observe it. I know I'm asking a lot, but just observe it, would you? Up north here in Canada, we call it Remembrance Day, and we call it that for a reason. And people don't program against it because it's just not very respectful. And listen, I know, I understand, I get it. Not everyone has to do what I do. I don't even fucking put the Christmas lights up until after Remembrance Day. That's what a fucking mark I am for Veterans Day / Remembrance Day. Anyways, at least there's a reason for Liz to come out dressed in her slutty Santa outfit as Hogan promotes Santa with muscles, claiming that the movie is getting huge numbers, which is just finishing its debut weekend. It launched on November the 8th over the weekend. It made huge box office numbers of $120,932. But, it would go on to earn $220,198. There are documentaries on Netflix that make more money than this. Anyway, let's keep the heat going by watching Hogan pose until we fade to black.
You are a big mark.
Overall, it was an okay Nitro. The Piper Hogan build is an unmitigated dumpster fire so far, but that's down to Piper's availability. Things are going to pick up, but not before the end of World War III. The world title picture is obviously not looking too awesome. But listen, it gives more time to the cruiserweight and tag divisions to build those up. So while those are happening, we're going to bury one of the most over tag teams in the American males. We're going to have the Harlem Heat essentially becoming a lover's quarrel between Sherry and Parker. What was I saying about the tag divisions getting extra time? That doesn't matter. Nitro gets 3 out of 5, and I'm being very generous. It would have scored higher if the last promo of the night was any good, or if the main event was given the time it needed to tell the 3 stories that it needed to fucking tell. Jesus, tap dancing, Christ.
Well, that was an abortion of a show. Should the mood take you, check out markoutradio.com and leave a comment. You can also find links there to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Stitcher channels. You can even leave a voicemail on our Skype. Just click the links and share them.